Bateman is not I could never really view him just as a villain, pure and simple, because he's so ridiculous, you know. He's not your ordinary kind of Hannibal Lecter, kind of scary.
In this 2000 interview, Christian Bale discussed his portrayal of Patrick Bateman, the enigmatic protagonist of the cult classic film American Psycho. Adapted from Bret Easton Ellis's controversial novel, the film thrusts viewers into the psyche of a wealthy banker leading a double life as a serial killer amidst the excesses of 1980s Manhattan. American Psycho transcends mere storytelling. It serves as a scathing critique of consumerism and the blurring boundaries between reality and fantasy. Christian Bale's portrayal of Bateman, with its chilling precision, has sparked intense debate and scrutiny, elevating the character to a status of fascination and controversy. But why does Patrick Bateman resonate so deeply within the internet zeitgeist? It's because, as Bale said, you can never view him as just a villain. Today, we embark on a journey beyond conventional interpretations. We delve into the psyche of Patrick Bateman, challenging the notion of his villainy. Through careful examination, I will argue that Patrick Bateman did not commit any wrongdoings. Join me as we discover why Patrick Bateman has garnered the admiration of Gen Z by navigating the complex labyrinth of his character and actions, questioning conventional morality along the way. Firstly, it's crucial to understand the context of Bateman's actions. Set against the backdrop of Wall Street excess and materialistic obsession in the 1980s, American Psycho presents a satirical critique of a society consumed by greed and superficiality. Bateman's actions must be interpreted within this satirical framework, where his exaggerated acts of violence serve as a metaphor for the moral bankruptcy of his environment. Secondly, Patrick Bateman's character is not merely a one-dimensional psychopath, but a deeply troubled individual grappling with existential angst and identity crisis. Throughout the film, Bateman struggles to distinguish himself from his peers, often blending into the homogenous sea of Wall Street yuppies.
Are you sure that's Paul Allen over there?
Yes, McDougas, I am.
He's handling the Fisher account.
Lucky bastard.
Lucky bastard.
Notice how they're all equally vapid, self-absorbed, and morally bankrupt. Bateman is simply playing by their rules, navigating a world devoid of empathy and authenticity. His violent outbursts can be seen as desperate attempts to assert his individuality. He's a product of his environment, molded by the society that glorifies wealth and status above all else. Moreover, Bateman's actions are not actually his own fault. This is because all of Bateman's actions were predetermined before he was even born. Predeterminism is summed up nicely in this clip by Robert Sapolsky, a renowned professor of biology and neurology at Stanford University.
Did you choose to listen to this podcast? Well, Sapolsky says no.
You just did what you did because of what came just before. And that happened because of what came just before that. And it's all the way down from there.
So according to Sapolsky, Bateman didn't decide to do anything. Instead, he did what he did because of what came before, which for Patrick was this avaricious, status-obsessed, brutish world of Wall Street. Patrick Bateman was doomed to his fate from his very creation, and will relive horrific moments like these over and over again.
Let's see Paul Allen's card.
Because in the words of renowned doomer 19th century philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, time is a flat circle. Even if you reject predeterminism and believe in free will, Bateman's actions aren't often ambiguous and open to interpretation. Much of the violence depicted in the film are hallucinations or delusions, stemming from Bateman's deteriorating mental state. The unreliable narrator aspect of the story leaves room for a lot of doubt regarding the veracity of Bateman's crimes, blurring the line between reality and fantasy. Take, for instance, this scene where Courtney Lawrence tells Bateman to have a nice Easter. It feels very strange and out of place, doesn't it? But what is it supposed to represent? It's akin to the famous thought experiment of Schrodinger's cat. In quantum mechanics, the hypothetical scenario of Schrodinger's cat highlights the paradox where a cat placed in a box with a radioactive atom could be simultaneously alive and dead until observed. Similarly, Bateman exists in a state of uncertainty, where his actions and perceptions fluctuate between the realms of reality and illusion. This scene, much like Schrodinger's cat, embodies this uncertainty. It's a manifestation of Bateman's fractured reality, where the lines between truth and fiction blur, leaving the viewer questioning the authenticity of his experiences. Furthermore, Bateman's ambiguous actions extend beyond mere hallucinations. They seep into the very fabric of the narrative, challenging our perceptions of truth and morality. For instance, we clearly see Bateman kill Paul Allen in arguably the film's most iconic scene. However, near the end of the film, Batman's lawyer tells him that he just had lunch with Paul Allen in London and he's alive and well. Who should we believe? I mean, we're talking about a guy who hallucinates ATM machines demanding him to feed them stray cats. It's clear that Batman's grip on reality is shaky at best. His actions could very well be an illusion that are symptoms of his deteriorating mental state rather than actual crimes. It is more likely that he didn't actually kill anyone. He was just being a silly, goofy boy. Furthermore, let's not forget Detective Kimball. Doubts on the validity of Bateman's crimes are further put into question by the fact that while filming this scene, Willem Dafoe was asked by the director to play this scene 3 ways. 1 where Kimball didn't suspect Bateman of the murders, 2 where he was unsure, and 3 where he was heavily suspicious. The film's editor cut all 3 of these takes together. The changing level of suspicion of Kimball in this scene is supposed to instill doubt about Bateman being a killer into the mind of the viewer. And on top of all of this, later on in a different scene, despite all of Batman's confessions and evidence pointing towards his guilt, Kimball dismisses him as just another wealthy white guy. Which brings me to my last point. The lack of accountability and consequences for Bateman's actions within the narrative serves as a commentary on the impunity of the privileged elite. Despite his seemingly heinous acts, Bateman remains unscathed, his wealth and social status shielding him from repercussions of his crimes.
I killed Paul Allen. And I liked it. I can't make myself any clearer.
But that's simply not possible.
This indictment of a system that protects its own at the expense of justice further complicates our moral judgment of Batman. The cherry on top, the ambiguous ending where Bateman's identity is mistaken for someone else's.
By the way, Davis, how's Cynthia? You're still seeing her, right?
Wait, Harold. What do you mean?
It's a perfect metaphor for the interchangeable nature of these Wall Street types. In the eyes of society, one yuppie murderer is as good as another. But there's another layer to Bateman's character that often goes unnoticed. Many interpret him solely as a misogynistic, selfish psychopath due to the extreme violence he perpetrates, particularly against women. However, these violent scenes serve as metaphors for something far deeper. His killings aren't real. They're metaphors. Extreme violence against someone is a metaphor for having disconnected, emotionless sex with them. The story of American Psycho isn't about a misogynistic mass murderer. It's really about being gay and deeply closeted during the first years of the AIDS outbreak. And how could you really do anything wrong if you're gay? The author of the book American Psycho, Bret Easton Ellis, has been non-committal about his sexuality.
But once we're out of here, I'm going to be texting my boyfriend, who I hope is...
And Ellis has told people that Bateman's thoughts and feelings were his own thoughts and feelings, suggesting American Psycho can be interpreted as a gay man trying to conform to a heterosexual society while keeping his sexuality a secret. Now, this is all just theory about the author, but textual evidence within the script and direction suggests an association between Patrick and homosexuality. Despite his homophobic remarks,
You look so soft.
Hands off the suit. Zest fest.
Patrick isn't a gay man. Rather, he's a deeply closeted gay man. This interview with the late famous deeply closeted comedian Norm Macdonald sums up the subject well.
You're a gay man?
I'm not gay. I said I'm deeply closeted. No. Do you know what deeply closeted means?
Yeah.
It means a man who will not acknowledge that he's gay.
Yes.
So I'm telling you, I'm not gay. I got a wife.
You got a wife?
I just got married because I thought, go through that charade.
So, like Norm, Bateman's negative remarks on gay people are just merely an attempt to desperately stay in the closet. Patrick Bateman even has a Les Mis poster in his bathroom, and almost starts crying when talking about Whitney Houston, a well-known queer icon. If this isn't hard evidence of Bateman being gay, I don't know what is. And even if you are somehow not convinced, the single most compelling evidence of all that Patrick Bateman is secretly gay is that throughout the entire book and film, Patrick Bateman does not see a single clown. Now you may ask, what does Patrick not seeing clowns have anything to do with his sexuality? Well, it's simple really, because there are a particular type of clown that hides from gay people. This concept is complex, so in order to explain it in more depth, I want to show this clip from the Andrew Tate podcast where he explains it in far more detail.
Have you ever seen the clown that hides from gay people?
No.
Not once?
What do you, no, no. No. Oh, I get what you're doing here. You're saying I'm a clown.
No, I'm not saying you're a clown. You're not the clown. There's a clown that hides from gay people, and you've never seen him, clearly.
You're saying I'm gay.
No, I'm not. Well, all I'm saying is the clown hides from gay people.
Have you seen the clown? Have you seen the clown?
I see the clown every day, all the time. He ain't hiding from me. He's hiding from you, bro.
Now, the clowns that hide from Aiden Ross are actually the same clowns that hide from Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. So Patrick not seeing a single clown in the book or the movie proves that he is in fact a homosexual. And this brings me to my final point. There's no doubt Bateman had some bad qualities, but he also had a fair amount of good qualities as well.
Come on. You're prettier than that.
Thanks, Patrick.
For example, Bateman shows a lot of restrained empathy in this scene with his secretary Jean. He knows she is head over heels for him and recognizes his own sexual attraction towards her when he says,
"Do you want me to go?"
Yeah. I don't think I can control myself.
Bateman knows that he will end up breaking her heart because he cannot give her the stable relationship she wants, so he painfully warns her by saying,
I think if you stay, something bad will happen.
This scene shows one of Bateman's best qualities, which is an obsession over self-discipline. He is obsessed over just about everything in his life: money, status, and his exceptional marksmanship. And the idea of having healthy obsessions is becoming more respected in today's society. One obsession Bateman has is that of self-improvement, which has been an inspiration for a lot of young men, but especially women, even sparking many to imitate his famous morning routine. The modern term that best describes this obsession of self-improvement is what is known as looks-maxing. The idea of looks-maxing was actually pioneered by Patrick Bateman in his meticulous morning routine. Looks-maxing is the idea of embracing the obsession of improving your looks to get to your maximum potential. Practicing the art of looks-maxing along with Bateman's other good qualities have sparked the literally me phenomenon, which is basically a bunch of men and women seeing themselves in Patrick Bateman. This is because Patrick Bateman accurately reflects modern society and how people are dealing with it. Finally, there is an obsession he actually shares with a few other exceptional people in our society, and that is an obsession with Donald J. Trump.
Is that Donald Trump's car? Is that Ivana Trump?
This makes sense because Donald Trump also practices in the art of looks-maxing by utilizing a technique called mewing. Mewing is a technique which the tongue is placed on the roof of the mouth, is supported to make the jaw more square, improve sleep, and reduce mouth breathing. Some even claim that mewing can treat speech disorders, jaw pain, and sinusitis. We all know that Patrick Bateman was based, but being this obsessed with Donald Trump moves him into a caliber of based few in humanity will ever venture into. In conclusion, American Psycho challenges viewers to reassess their preconceptions of morality and villainy. And even if Patrick Bateman really did kill those people, it wouldn't be his fault, because in the grand scheme of things, his actions were predetermined, originating from a much larger problem. Bateman is not responsible for his actions, but rather a product of his environment. So before you judge him too harshly, take a long, hard look at the society that created him, and you'll see the only thing that Patrick Bateman did wrong was have some late-due videotapes.
I have to return some videotapes.
And of course, thanks for watching.